My place has always been in the sky.
Hey everyone, this is Quake Man, and today, finally I can be slightly on time with this by at least one day late because this should be posted on Friday, the October 12th. This update was on the 11th. This update includes a bunch of stuff that I am actually pretty excited to test out. Now, I will give a clarification that some of these things I've tested out before through the PTS that Bethesda and id Software allowed me to have, as well as a bunch of other people who bought the Champions pack through Steam or the Bethesda launcher. Basically, that got us to test out all of the new features before it went live. I should have probably made a video about the PTS, but I thought, you know what, I'll wait for an actual live video, and so, you know what, here it is. So, the first thing is we actually got the champion to be released, and this champion was Athena. I talked about this when they announced her last time during the PAX event, I believe it was. And the speculations I had was, you know, it was grappling hook, and we weren't sure, like, what it would entail. Well, now we have the official numbers. At least we knew since PTS, but it's updated now. This is a video. Here's the news. That was a weird statement. I'm going to just go with it. So her ability is a grappling hook, and it pretty much is self-explanatory. You launch it, it attaches, and you go to that direction, and if you press the ability again, you can swing and maneuver yourself around stuff. I given some tests around from the PTS, and I did some matches beforehand, both in the PTS and in the official, and she is versatile. Imagine like Team Fortress 2 and the Scout, and how the Scout double jumping and being distracting can be annoying. Athena is kind of like that. She can use it to escape, to engage. She can do a lot of gap jumping, almost similar to what Clutch does with his airburst ability. It's amazing what this is. I mean, granted, the downside is she is a light character. She only has, 100 max, 0 starting armor with a max of 50. She is a speedy character of 320 speed, similar to Nyx, Anarchy, and such. So she can be very quick to die. So it makes sense to have the grappling hook. I did some test runs out of curiosity. I thought maybe, what if you use the grappling hook in combinations with certain surfaces for rocket jumping? And the tests were kind of successful, but I never got to experiment how successful it would be in official matches. They're probably more professional players like Zai, Rocket Jump Ninja, or Frothy. They're probably going to have a better way of explaining that better than I do. But for my experimentations, I think it's really, really cool of the different mechanical movements you can do with the grappling hook, with rocket jumping, and some other stuff. Her passive is interesting. Sorry for that weird silent pause. Her passive is that Athena can reach great heights by using the top ramp or step as a launching platform. And based on what I can gather, at least from what I can get from the experimentation, is what you do is if you're on a staircase, or just some sort of slope, if you press the jump as you're jumping off the platform, like you jump and then land on the platform and jump again, you can launch yourself higher, almost like a mini jump pad. It's almost like you're given the double jump of Doomslayer, except for you can only do this on on the slope surfaces and stairs. It's a little strange on how to trigger from my experience. I've done a few tests on some slopes and some maps, and sometimes I've gotten it to trigger, sometimes I haven't gotten it to trigger, so I can't tell the perfect nature of how it works, but if you can get it working, it's great for movement, even more with the grappling hook on top of everything else. So she's even more fast and nimble. So this character in particular, her ability has nothing to do with damaging the enemy. It's not like Sorlag or Clutch's laser or whatnot. So she's purely speed and mobility, and you really need to be on point with your shots and map control to utilize Athena even more. That's my best guess effort. So her grappling hook, she has 3 charges. Each charge takes 50 seconds to recharge. 15 seconds to get another bolt, so you can use one and then use another one, and then after 15 seconds you get the next one, similar to what Galena does, similar to what Keel does, and those ability fronts. So at most is 45 seconds to get all 3 hooks back. You can gain a hook back immediately if you launch and miss. So if you launch and let's say you didn't hit the right surface, or you weren't close enough for it to attach, you'll gain it right back without losing it, which is a pretty cool thing to gain back after doing so. So I like Athena. Like already, I'm liking Athena, even though I usually am not a huge fan of these fast, nimble characters. To be honest, like it's the reason why I like Ranger, Clutch, and Sorlag a lot right now, and a little bit of Strogg. But Athena is really getting attached to me. I really like her character. I that's the best I can say, and I'll just leave it at that. The next thing that was added to this update was the game type Slipgate. This was another thing they showed off at PAX that I've talked about briefly, and I got to play about 2 rounds with it. My impressions? Well, it's not bad. It uses the same extended map designs that Sacrifice did, so it added more rooms and areas, like if you were playing Sacrifice on like Blood Covenant and Church of Zarnoth. I probably pronounced that wrong, but who cares? Moving on. Where they make it a little bit more better for movement and placement and team-oriented stuff. The problem I feel with Slipgate, at least from the 2 maps I played, which is Blood Covenant and Church, is how enemies are placed. Especially on Church, the problem is that your team spawns right in front of the Mega Armor, which is a little strange. I don't understand why they don't move that around as well. Not only that, they didn't try to pull something like maybe I hate to bring this up because I know it's not a good comparison. I almost feel like they could have done something related to, like, say, Counter-Strike, where they both start far away from the objective and the attacking and defending team both have to I can't think of the word. Get close to each other and duke it out to try and open the gate and them closing the gate. Instead, the defending team is right on point and the attacking team goes on point. And if you die, that's it. You're dead. You don't get revived until the next round. And it just, I don't know. This game type, I don't feel it exactly works with this mode. Games like Counter-Strike and Siege can relatively do that because there's no health pickups. There's no there's no power-ups. It's just you versus the other people and the skill of who has the best knowledge of the knowledge of where they are and taking them out based on those knowledge. Here, it's an arena shooter where you have lives defending a point, and it feels awkward. It just feels incredibly awkward in my opinion, especially because you spawn with all the weapons, almost max ammo, and it's kind of weird because every round that starts, you choose your champion and you can choose a weapon, which I thought was a weapon that you spawned with, but no, it's just the weapon you just start with, but you could switch weapons at any point in time to any other weapon. So it makes me wonder if maybe they'll update it to where people can choose specific weapons, so people could be like, okay, you're the one that used the railgun to deal with, high power damage from long distance to, so if they're coming in, you can get the damage off of them quickly. This person's the Rocketeer and blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. Everyone starts with everything, so it kind of it feels like it needs a little work and balancing a little bit for it to actually fit in the ecosystem that is Quake Champions or the arena shooter genre. But I welcome it a little bit. I welcome it a little bit better than I did with Sacrificed, personally. Sacrifice was a little complicated on how it sets itself up and a little annoying. But Slipgate, maybe if they listen to the community, maybe if people experiment with it more, I'm going to try and play more often with it and try to see how I feel about it. We'll wait and see if they'll change it, flip it, try to find a good shifting meta for the Slipgate community, if there is one, as this game continues. But overall, I want it to change to fit the arena shooter narrative a little bit better, but I kind of feel meh about it. It's just something to waste time on, so I'll leave it at that. But it's still fun for what it is. It's still a new mode to try out. CTF I don't think was included into this. I didn't see it at all, so I'm kind of disappointed with that. But Maybe that CTF is still being worked on and everything. That'll be probably the next update. Maybe with a new champion too. But Slipgate was the new basic mode that they added. They added. Hold on. Let's see here. Here it is. They added 4 new arcade mode rotations. So while the Unholy Trinity, Hot Rockets, Team Mitsugib, and Mystery Champions are part of the rotation for arcade, now they added Unholy Trinity TDM, Lead the Way, which is where everyone's Scarebearer in a free-for-all deathmatch, and insta-kill with Bull Rush, Swinger Party, basically everyone's Athena, it's a free-for-all, and and if you hook shot someone, it's an insta-kill. And Sacrifice is back in arcade mode with a shorter cap time and 2.5 minutes to just 1 minute. So now we have 8 different modes. Instagib was shifted from the standard playlist to the arcade modes. Now you can choose between Instagib and the other game type, which I believe was Unholy Trinity TDM when I looked down the main menu. And it seems like it's going to bounce between it all. Something that wasn't in the update patch, but I wanted to bring it out. All the game types that were in arcade mode and all the new ones they did just announced is now in custom game. Thank you. That was not in the last update when they put them in there, so I'm thank you for that. So me and my friends Jordan and Elvar, Insane Matt, we can all just play Hot Rockets and have some shitty. It's just a lot of shitty fun. That was a bad statement. Who cares? I do that a lot. Another awesome thing that they added after they finally added the Trespasser Double Barrel Super Shotgun from Quake 2, the next weapon skin on the list was what they call the SMC Annihilator, the machine gun that you use in Quake 4, which awesome. I wanted that to fit because it had a scope, which makes sense for the heavy rifle also having a scope and doing higher damage, similar to what it does. I love this. I'm very happy to see this. That's 2 things that I wanted from my past video now in the game. I can't wait to see what else they're going to put into this. And those are all the basic big updates. So from that, we're going to move on to general improvements and balance changes, which I understand may be boring to some people, but I'm going to talk about it because there's some cool stuff here. So they did some more debugging stuff in relation to solid frame rates, erratic ghost inputs to improve the game's performance. They performance the Heavy Champions effects, the client and server-side performance for the shotgun, the gore spawns, several maps throughout the art shaders optimizations. They now added a HUD section to the gameplay. They added ally and enemy outline colors to the HUD. You can now add current challenges info toggle in the HUD settings. They added a zoom FOD options to the game settings, so now you can add a custom FOD for when you zoom with the railgun and most of the weapons. They reintroduced the scoreboard at the end of the match. Fixed issues with respawning via the pause meta with Slash. Some other stuff related with Strog, where the sensory antenna vanity did not cloak property. This update I really like. So they addressed an issue on the longest run to improve the lighting on the pre-post game podium screens. Fixed various art issues by the heavy machine gun spawns on Longest Yard. Fixed an issue on Longest Yard where players could shoot and damage others through the floor. Addressed an issue on Temple Shrine where players could stand out the player area by the ship. Now here's something important that I was kind of caught off guard that they would do. So the hourglass pickups adjusted to reduce how quickly active abilities can be restored, reducing the numbers of available hourglasses or moving them to positions that favor the player out of control. Awoken went from 5 to 6. They only increased it to keep things on an even playing field, but they spread them out a little bit more sparse. Blood Covenant went from 10 to 6. Blood Run went from 7 to 6. Ruins of Sarnath went from 17 to 10. Temple Shrine went from 15 to 13. And Molten Falls went from 9 to 7. Map changes for Lockbox. They updated the Lockbox item layout. I didn't get to test to see what they changed, so that's going to be not in this video. I'm sorry about that. They swapped the locations of the Mega Health and the Power Up. So now the Mega Health will be in the platform above us, and which means you're going to have like really special like double jumps or whatever like that to reach it. And now the power-up will be a little bit easier to grab. Remove the railgun near the floating platform in the alien crystal room. Swap the location of the lightning gun in the nearby light armor. Move the heavy armor in TDM and DM and is now located in the blind Oculus room, point B. In Sacrifice and Slipcase, it is in the cavernous staircase near the blind Oculus. In the bridge room, move the light armor from behind the acid fall to the center of the lower level. I think that's a really good idea because sometimes people forget that that's there when the pool of acid and stuff. Added a teleporter behind the acid fall that leads to the upper third level of the same room. That's good for movement. I like that. Replace the super nail gun on the third floor of the acid fall bridge room with a rail gun. I think that's a good placement for that center area, especially for the teleporter to be there. Added 2 small health near the rocket launcher. In Sacrifice and Slipgate, reposition the heavy machine gun in the closed base point A to align with a nearby jump pad. Added a new teleporter to lockbox behind the acid fall, which I already just read up above. Weapons. Fixed an issue that occurred after using abilities which could break the increased damage when zooming in with the heavy machine gun. Fixed issues where flame effects could appear on the gauntlet when not playing as Death Knight. Fixed issues where weapon textures could appear as low res. Fixed some things with the vanities with some other people. Anything important with UI? Fixed an issue with the time limit and score limits not being shown correctly. Let's see. Updated the battle report match achievements to show proper amount of digits. Fixed an issue where a box would appear hovering over the Eradicator weapon in the store. Alright, those are some minor things that you guys could look in the description if you so like to. Okay, some balance changes related to the champions. They adjusted view heights to account for a recent rescaling of player models. Essentially, this passes updated all champions in-game model sizes to reflect their hitboxes changes that we have had over many patches from February to now. They unified crouch speeds. Light champions, mediums, and heavies will now all do the same unit speed regardless of who you are. So lights are going from 80 to 160, mediums are 77 to 160, heavies are 75 to 160. So that's actually pretty cool. But yeah, they updated a lot of the models of people and the sizes to correspond with all of their stuff. Oh, they also adjusted bull rush damage for Scarebearer. Yeah. Oh, they increased the damage in some areas. So instead of it being 50, 75, 100, 150, 200, it's now 75, 100, 125, 150, 200. So you're getting a faster damage increase let up. So instead of it, yeah, that pretty much makes sense. They lower the crouch speed and crouch slide of Slash. Looks like, yep. Bunny hop acceleration for Sorlag was increased by 0.05 instead of 0.02. The lightning gun's cooldown has been basically reduced, so now it does one tick of it basically does a 1 tick faster of damage per second, which is interesting. And that seems to be all the big stuff. Oh, they raised the hands of the Doomslayer. Interesting. Yep, that looks like that's all in this patch note for today. So the new champion, the new game type, the new skin, and a couple of fixes here and there. So other than that, that seemed to be the update for this month of October. And like I said, Athena, I'm loving her straight out. I was not expecting that. And especially with how she feels. She's fast and nimble, and if you're quick on the trigger with her grappling hook, you can escape a lot of stuff. So I wonder how fast people are going to master her and how often she's going to be seen in games. We'll see. Slipgate, the impression I got is not awful, but I think it needs to be a little fixed around in some areas. Granted, I will say I did play slipgates where it was 2 versus 2, 3 versus 2, or 4 versus 3, so I never got to play a 4 versus 4 full match, but granted, I'm playing this at like 1, 2 in the morning, so that's my fault for recording this too early and getting this out there. But hey, you know what? That's my fault. I choose to. But at least my impressions are interesting, and I'm curious of how much farther it will go. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention about Slipgate. So something I kind of wonder and guess is the Slipgate, takes slow time to open up, and there's like 3 checkpoints, and the longer you get to those checkpoints, the harder it is for the attacking team to try and disable it, or it takes longer than before. So instead of it taking like, let's say 5 seconds to close it, normally if you get to it quick enough, if they're on stage 2 or 3 of the slipgate, it may take you 7 or 10 seconds to fully close it at that point. So I thought that was a pretty cool feature to try and help hold off people. But yeah, there's a couple of things they could try to fix. Maybe make health a little bit more closer and stuff, or change the position of where the slipgate is supposed to be. We'll wait and see on the feedback, but my impressions are I want to see this improve. Maybe it'll stay mainstay, probably not. We'll have to wait and see. Other than that, I think that is left for me to talk about for this update, and I hope you enjoyed this video so much. You guys have a wonderful day, and take care, and keep on fragging if you're playing Quake Champions, my friends. See you later.